Hello and welcome back to another tutorial. So today is going to be how to achieve this top. It's a 6 pieces blouse and I use less than 2 years of fabric for this. So if you are on a big size, you might need 2 years. So for this, I started with my pattern paper. I mark out my shoulder. From there, I mark out the post point, my chest line, my underbust, the full length. So after that, I came up to draw out my sleeve and my armhole line. So to get your armhole line, you're going to need your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. So that will indicate the point where you'll be drawing your armhole line. So before I continue, I went ahead to draw my neckline so I can draw my shoulder slope. So I use a neck width of 3 by neck width of 3. So after drawing my shoulder slope, then I locate the midpoint here around here. That midpoint, I came in by half an inch. I'm going to be putting my print curve like this, making sure the 3 points meet together. The first, my first measurements, the midpoint line and to the slope line. So after that, I'm going to be measuring my nipple to nipple measurements. So here, the nipple to measure I'm working here is 8 divided by 2, 4 inches plus half an inch around. So I've gone ahead to draw the dots into this straight line. So I'm going to label it as my chest line, my bust point, my underbust, my waist, and my blouse length. So guys, for a reason, I don't know, I omitted my underbust line. So I'm just going to impute this back here. So I'm going to draw this line across like this. So I'll relabel it as my waistline, then my underbust. Sorry guys. So the next thing I want to do is to take my darts. So the dart I'll be taking here is going to be 2 inches across the other side. On the side, I'm doing 2 inches. Then on this side of the neckline, I'm going to be doing half an inch. So if you don't know how to take your darts, just use this formula. Your bust circumference divided minus your underbust circumference. Whatever you have, divide it by 2 inches. So then you share it across the line, across your nipple to nipple line. So I think that is one of the most easiest methods to determine the dart intake. So on the nipple points, I'm just going to go down by half an inch. Now come down by half an inch. So after that, I'm going to use my French curve to connect it to meet my bust point. From there, from my underbust again on this side to meet my bust point again. And on the armhole line, I'm going to measure my armhole like this. See the way I'm placing my tape? You measure. So my midpoint remains my midpoint after measuring it. So on that midpoint, I took half an inch on both sides of my midpoint here. And I'm going to be connecting the line to make the nipple point there. So I also connect the half line, half inches I just came down and up. I'll connect it back to make the nipple point as well. So guys, you can just leave the broken line or just decide to blend it. So for those of us that might be confused, let me just do this. So then you need to blend it well so it will not be too sharp. So on the other line here, this first line close to the armhole on the chest line, I'm going to come down by, I'm going to be going in by half or 1 inch. So guys, I'm sorry, I didn't know my camera stopped recording. So guys, what I did is simple. I just take the armhole line at that point. I extended it and I have my new armhole. Then I also come here and measure my nipple to, sorry, my bust circumference divided by 4, my underbust circumference divided by 4. I did my seam allowance and I repeated the same thing on the blouse length. So at this point, I just cut out what I have here. I'm just going to cut it out. So I'm cutting through the my darts like this all to the bust point area, and I'll cut all the way to the armhole, then to my nail armhole line, then to the side. So this is it after cutting it out. So let me show you what I have here. So this is what I'll have after cutting it out. So guys, I am going to introduce another pattern paper. A new paper, just pick a piece of paper. I'm going to be placing it from my waistline. Don't forget this is 6 pieces blouse. So the essence of this is to just have like a little flare at the tip of my blouse. So I'm going to be adding a piece of paper here. Then I'll extend it by, you can do 2.5 or 3 inches, but here I'm doing 3 inches. So that's how much I want the flare to come out. And this flare is going to be from my waist down to the blouse length. So see the way I place my extra paper, and I'll cut it like so from the waist to the tip of the blouse length. So I'm doing this for only the center. I'm adding to the center front on the side. I'm not adding to the center front area. So for this part, I'm going to be adding to both sides of the side pattern of my blouse. So I'll add to this curvy part and also add to the side, the seam allowance part. So I'm going to hold it in place just the way I've done for the other one. I'm going to hold it like this with my masking tape, and I'll measure that same 3 inches. Whatever you are using, that should be what you'll be using. If you are using 2 inches, just maintain the 2 inches. So I'll be using my 3 inches from my waist like so. I'll connect it down to the 3 inches I just measure, and I'll cut it out. So I'm going to be repeating this for all the sides, and I'll then keep this aside. This is it after adding to it. So please note I did not add to the center. I'm not going to be adding to the center. So moving ahead to the back part, I've already gone ahead to draw out my lines. I have my zipper allowance, then my shoulder, my waist, and my blouse line. So there will be no need for under bust here. And I also measure my nipple to nipple. So on that nipple to nipple, I'm going to be taking my dart of 1/2 inch on both sides of my line, and I will connect it like this. I connect it from my waist to the chest line, and from the waist down to the blouse length. So after that, I'm going to be taking my bust circumference plus my uh, sewing allowance, and on the waistline, I'll repeat the same thing. My waist divided by 4, then I will replace my dart, and I'll also add my sewing allowance. So moving ahead to the hip, I'll still do the same thing. My hip divided by 4 plus my sewing allowance. So connect all the dots together. You can just use your free hand to do this. So guys, if you're still watching at this point, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button and also on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. So I'm going to measure my neck width. I measure a neck width of 4 inches and neck depth of about 3 inches here. So I'll connect it like this. So don't forget your shoulder slope, and also add your 1/2 inch or 0.25 inch of your shoulder seam allowance. So I want my blouse to have at the back to have like a shoulder dart. So I'm just going to divide what I have, the remaining part of my shoulder, into two like this, and I'll connect it. So guys, this is not really necessary, but because of the style I am making, it's a 6 pieces blouse, and I want it to be, and I'm going to add extra to it on the waistline to the hem. So it will just make sense if I divide this into two at this point. So this is just to help me share my back pattern into two, so I can add my extra flea I want that it fits. So I'm going to cut it out like this, cut the length of my blouse, also cut the other side. Then I'll trim off that around this area. So we'll just finish up the dart here. So this is what I have for the back part after cutting it out. So guys, don't forget to add the zipper allowance. So, so there's this. Okay, so this is what I have here. And I'm done cutting for both the front and the back. And I've added my extra. So I'm forgetting to add to eliminate some bulginess around the zipper side here. So what you will do is you come to the waistline here to eliminate some bulginess around the zip side there. You are going to come to the waistline, you mark half an inch. You can do 0.75 depending on the allowance you add for your zip allowance. So I'll just bring it up like this and I'll cut it out. So with this, I'm not going to have my zip will not bulge. So I'll also trim up these upper parts later. So guys, the next thing you want to do is to cut out on your fabric. So I am cutting it out on my fabric, and at this point I am almost done cutting all my pieces. So I've also cut for the back panel. So I have done cutting out my pieces of my panel on the fabric. So I'll also go ahead and cut the lining. So after this, I'm going to be adding my ST. You can try to use any interfacing of your choice. You can use a soft comb or ST or whatever you want to use. So my this is it guys, and so this blouse is for me. So my fabric, my ST wasn't enough, so I just managed what I had there. So this is how you're going to be sewing it. You're going to sew the from the down part like this. You sew like so. So I am done sewing it, and this is what it looks like after sewing it. So I'm going to be shaping that part. This part they are too sharp for my liking, so I'll just trim it so it will rhyme and it will not be too pointy. So it will give me that round effect after adding my crinoline. So I'm just going to be cutting it out like so. Then on this side also I'll cut it out. So you can choose to cut all of them together, but I'm just doing it separate. And cut both the front and the back together. So if you feel you cannot gauge or you are not too sure of how much to cut on this lining part, you can use what you cut on the previous one to cut it out. So I am done trimming, and this is my lining and my main fabric. So at this point I will use my lining to turn my main fabric, and I'll be adding my crinoline all around it. So after this, I'm going to be repeating the same thing for the back part. I've gone ahead to join the lining piece together and also the main fabric. So I'll place it like this, and I'll also use it to turn the lining as well. So at this point, you might want to add your hemming gum so it will lay flat and well after sewing it. So that this is it after I've sewn it. What I'll do is to just turn it out and use my sharp scissors to push out the parts that are pointy there, so it will not be. Then after this, you just give it a good press. So I'll also iron the back part as well. So this is what I have after I've ironed it out. It's coming out really nice. So I did not use breast pad for my, at this point you might want to use, but I think I don't need it. So I will also turn the neckline. After turning the neckline, this is what I have. This is what my blouse is looking like, and this is the back part. I'm gonna add to add my zipper. So I so after this, remember it's a sleeveless dress. So you will want to reduce the armhole, sorry, the shoulder, if you don't want it to be looking funny at that part. So it will just lay flat well on your shoulder when you wear it. So you might decide to remove like half an inch or 1 inch away from the shoulder, because this is my exact shoulder here while I was cutting it. So I'm going to trim like 1 inch away from mine. And I'll blend it to make my armhole like this. So I'll cut out the 1 inch. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is at this point you can use your bias to tape it the armhole, or you use the same fabric. Just cut out a piece of the fabric and use it to tape it, or you can just use your hand to fold it in. Anyone. So after that, I am going to shape my dress. So I'll shape it like this, and I'll also go ahead and shape it to my size at this other front. Guys, see you in my next video.